All right, just in time for fall, we're happy to introduce our new partner here on deargearabby, Fjallraven. Woo! Because you can't fjall without Fjallraven. That's right. Fall doesn't get nearly enough credit for hiking. Everyone thinks summer's the season, but for hikers, autumn is the real deal. You got cooler days, quieter trails, more space, and fall is exactly what Fjallraven's Keb collection is built for. Born from trekking in northern Sweden, their jackets, fleeces, trousers, everything lets you focus on nature, all specifically designed to make cold optional. Check out the whole Keb collection by clicking on the link in the show notes or search for it when you head to fjallraven.com, where your fjall or your fall begins.
You got questions going out of your mind. Someone with answers now that's hard to find. Like the what and the why and the how stuff works, or just where to go to avoid all the jerks. She's Gear Abby, Gear Abby, Gear Abby, advice that doesn't suck. Gear Abby.
Hello there, my outdoorsy friends, and welcome to Gear Abby, where we tackle the controversial, weird, obscure, and taboo topics that other outdoor podcasts refuse to touch. I'm Shawnté Salabert, an outdoor educator, writer, former school social worker, and one-time underwater hockey player, that's right, who's hiked, run, climbed, paddled, and adventured across the United States and beyond. And here on Gear Abby, I channel all that experience and more into answering your burning questions about our relationships with outdoor people, products, places, and pastimes. Because remember, my outdoor-loving pals, there are no dumb questions, just smart advice. So, you know how this works. That's right. You're going to send questions to deargearabby, and that is A-B-B-Y. I am not Edward Abbey. And I will pick my favorites to answer here on the show. And the moment you've been waiting for, as always, joining me today is my partner in gear, the producer of Gear Abby, and a guy who just wishes that all the horny salmon in this world could find their one true love, Colin True.
I just want love for the salmon. Just want love. They deserve it after all the time they spent on the other side of that dam. But Gear Abby, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh. I'm not prepared for this. This is your flipping the script.
On the spot,
oh
I
my
am.
Gosh. What if I can't answer questions in the moment?
Oh, you can. This is a layup.
Yes.
Total layup.
Yes.
This is something that I'm going to step on a reader's toes, a listener's toes, because I know that they would have asked this question eventually.
Okay.
I think I sent you this video.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if you can see it. Okay.
He's holding up his phone,
You
people.
can't see the trail. So that's a rattlesnake.
Okay, I see a...
This is on a trail behind my house.
Oh, you didn't lick it, did you?
I'm not going to go any further. Good to see you.
Ooh, spicy rattlesnake.
So I encountered this rattlesnake on this trail by my house, hiked to this mountain hundreds of times, literally can walk to it from my house, so it's like my go-to up there. One of the few sections of trails, pretty narrow. And also, I've never seen a rattlesnake before. Happened to see a rattlesnake this one day.
Yes.
And, you know, I was at a point, it was almost at the summit. I was kind of late for dinner. It was time for me to turn around and go home anyway. So I would have gone up to the top, but it was like, whatever. But there was not a lot of room to navigate around this guy.
Yeah.
And in a lot of hikes, forward is the path, right? So you're not going to just turn around like, well.
Just start spinning in circles.
Guess I'm gonna. Now, do you sit and you wait for the snake to depart? Do you lob rocks at it? Do you just sort of gingerly take because it was basically like a hill kind of on the one side of the trail,
yes.
and then that snake was on the other side. Do you kind of trek up off trail to kind of give yourself a wide berth? What do you do?
I mean, Colin, did you try just asking, like, psst, psst, hey, Mr. Snake, hey, Danger Noodle, can you just scoot a little bit? You could do the Midwestern. Oh, could you just move over just a little bit? Oh.
We had a conversation.
You did, okay.
And I told him,
and he just,
because I wanted to wait.
Did he respond to you?
He responded with his rattle.
Ah, I see. So he was real excited you were there.
He's like, hey, what's up? Fuck off.
That's
what he had to say to me.
Yeah, their English is very limited. So, I mean, all right. Did you have trekking poles with you?
I did not.
Okay, one thing you can do if you encounter a rattlesnake is kind of like bang your trekking poles on the ground, not at the rattlesnake, not to the do not whip your poles at the rattlesnake, but just kind of like bang them on the ground. If you don't have poles, you can just use your feet and stomp.
Just stomp.
They don't like the vibrations, so more times than not, they might go and fuck you
and slither off.
Slither off into the sunset, as it were, to go find, maybe they're out there mating. You don't know. Maybe you could be like, hey, have you tried getting laid? Why don't you go do that?
Did you see the tarantulas?
Did you see the tarantulas? They just had their mating season.
Down.
It's your turn. Colin, this is a real banner day today because not only did you just ask me a question, really throwing me off my game here, but I hear you also got some listener mail yourself. So let's hear it.
We're rebranding Gear Pig.
Gear Pig. I feel like there's people who would really like that. So
probably. You're with Colin the Gear Pig. Okay. Yeah, I did. I actually got a response to, God, was it our first, maybe in our first episode? One of the first couple episodes where we talked about chafing and what to do exactly. And I mentioned that I was a merino wool fan.
Oh, you did.
And so we received this email at our old address, which is still the current address for the Rock Fight, myrockfight@gmail.com.
Don't say anything good there.
I don't know if you're aware.
Send it all to me.
I don't know if you're aware. We're having a battle. Okay, who's going to get
the more emails? So far, I'm doing all right. I just want you to know
you're winning.
It's going well.
Rock Fight's been around for 3 years, and somehow you're getting more emails. I don't know how this is happening. Okay, here's the letter that I received. Hi, Colin. I was just listening to the most recent Deargearabby, and I heard your comment about merino underwear. I also have to deal with larger thighs and wanted to ask a question. Which brand do you find holds up the best? I've used Smartwool in the past, but started noticing durability issues. I was curious if there was a brand you might recommend. Love all the shows. I learned so much about the industry. Best, Fritz.
Oh, best.
Yeah, and so, by the way, not to limit sponsorship opportunities, but my experience with Smartwool has been the same. I've my 3 kind of go-to brands of the last year, and mostly I wear them on a day-to-day basis. I do use them actively as well sometimes, but I've been Smartwool, Ridge Merino, and Woolly.
I don't know Woolly.
Woolly.
Is it WOOLLYIE?
It is. Okay. But the Ridge, I think, fit the best. The Smartwools really, they wear out quick. And when you're spending upwards of, $30 to potentially $50 on a pair of underwear, which is what you're probably doing if you're getting merino, it's not going to last as long as maybe you want to ever because it's merino, but it's also, when they wear out pretty quickly. So Smartwool, get your act together.
What are you doing in your underwear? No, what? I retract that question.
I have very abrasive balls.
You're short. Nope. I'm just going to leave that, actually.
We're going to move right along.
But you know what, Colin? I know exactly how to change the subject here. Since you are but one...
Call that in the biz a pivot.
We're going to pivot real hard to someone else's balls. So I actually decided to call upon a certified underwear expert. That is Sam Schild. He is a writer, a gear reviewer, backpacker, bike packer, runner, thru hiker. He's covered more than 50,000 miles on 2 wheels alone. So that's just his bike riding, guys. He's done a lot. And he wrote a fantastic mega review of men's underwear, very specifically, for Treeline Review earlier this year, so back in the spring. So I decided let's pull him in and give him a call to grill him on all things undies. So, hey, Sam, where exactly are you calling in from right now, and why are you there?
What's up, Shawnté? I am in Bellingham, Washington, because I am through hiking the Pacific Northwest Trail right now. I've hiked about 950 miles in the past month, so I've got like 250, 300 more to go. And I'm here to talk about some undies.
Man, yes. I like the enthusiasm in your voice. Are you wearing merino underwear right now? Be honest.
To be perfectly honest, I'm not wearing merino underwear because I found that wearing merino underwear, it doesn't dry as fast. So in wet climates, I tend to wear synthetic underwear. And then also when I'm through hiking sometimes I just wash my clothes in a sink or something and then just continue on my way. I could just put the synthetic mesh underwear back on when it's still wet and it dries much faster than merino.
Wow, your credibility score just went down exponentially.
but I really do love merino underwear also. They're depending on the situation, I kind of just grab whatever underwear I have, and I've worn all of them from that review you were talking about. And mostly how I was testing them was just literally wearing them every day for everything from running to backpacking, biking, traveling, just living my daily life. And the wool underwear, I found that I think it's more helpful for people that have chafing issues. And I just really don't have chafing issues. I guess my thighs are the magical kind that don't chafe as much. So I could kind of wear whatever. And I end up wearing, honestly, pretty cheap, thin, just like polyester mesh underwear a lot. But when I do wear the merino ones, it is super, it's more cozy and they're a little warmer, which is nice when it's cold. And they're as breathable as synthetic and they don't stink as much. So there's a lot of benefits to merino.
That's very crucial. The don't stink as much. I do feel like merino it's like wearing it's like a butt hug, you know?
It is. It's like a butt hug. It's like the closest thing you could get to a cotton t-shirt when you're going after it outside.
I like that. Like a cotton t-shirt for your junk. That is a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah.
Just putting those words right in your mouth. Better than putting a pair of merino underwear in your mouth. I mean, we don't kink shame on this podcast, by the way. So you do you. But what? So I know you tested something like, I don't know, around 20 different. I know you had a huge list that you were culling from. You tested around 20 different pairs of undies for the tree line piece. What? I mean, maybe I'm afraid to ask, but like, what was your criteria for what made just like an outstanding pair of men's underwear?
To start, I just wore them all like for days at a time without changing my underwear. And I would just like take notes of take note of which ones were the most comfortable and which ones I wanted to wear. And then, I'd wash them as normal and then I'd like start the whole thing again and I'd wear every pair for a few days, switch to another pair, wear those for a few days, switch to another pair, wear those for a few days. I washed them all by hand too, and I like let them out to dry to see which ones dried the fastest. And after I wore them, I would like smell them to see like if any of them stunk, which was.
I mean, you had to, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to. It's for science. It's for journalism.
Hardcore hard-hitting journalism over here.
That's right.
Well, I saw a couple different merino undies did make the cut. Mm-hmm. So we had Arms of Andes boxer briefs were best for backpacking. Ridge Merino, which we were just talking about, performance fit briefs, best merino. Ibex Natural Boxer Brief, best upgrade merino. And it looks like, I was looking through your story, the only reason the Ibex draws didn't make it as your top overall pick is that they're spendy. But if money is no object for Fritz or anybody else who's listening and their thighs, like why is the Ibex the premium pick here?
The Ibex were just the most comfortable overall. They just felt really good when you put them on. And even after you're wearing them for a few days, another thing about merino underwear that is kind of not as great is that they get stretched out. Like they don't have as much elastic as a synthetic, but the Ibex didn't seem to get stretched out as much. They're like 88% merino and 12% nylon with like 1% spandex. I know that equals 101, so those numbers aren't exactly accurate, but we're close. But the Ibex ones, they just kind of felt the most supportive and they didn't ride up on your thighs, and they were just kind of the most comfortable for the longest time. But the Ridge Merino ones are also super, super comfortable. They're almost like a lot of Ridge Merino stuff. They're a little softer feeling somehow. And I don't exactly know what it is about their merino that is softer, but it feels a little softer. They got stretched out a little quicker, but they are a lot cheaper than the Ibex. So that was kind of the reason why we went with Ridge Merino as the best merino. But then the Arms of Andes and the Ibex are also great.
I love it. I like the Arms of Andes I saw were like 100% alpaca. And I just love the thought of a cozy alpaca up on my buns. I think that sounds so nice.
Yeah, those ones are so cozy. Since they're 100% alpaca, they do get stretched out a little faster. And they don't really give you the same support after a few days of wearing them, but they're super cozy.
All right. Well, I know you've obviously worked your ass off to test these undies. What is your advice for what people can do to help their merino, like in particular merino undies, last longer? Because that is, of course, Fritz is asking about durability and staying power. Like, how should people be taking care of these things?
So never put them in the dryer. That's the number one thing. You could wash them in the washing machine as normal, but then hang dry them. Do not ever, not even on like low heat, just hang dry them. Other than that, if you ride a bike in them a lot, they're going to abrade. So that's going to wear them out faster. But for just general like hiking, running, climbing, anything else, just they'll last a long time as long as you don't shrink them by putting them in the dryer.
Wow. Sam Schild, Captain Underpants. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to help out Fritz and hop on the show. And we'll link to your tree line story and your website in the show notes. But
Cool.
anyone who's listening, if you want to see pictures of Sam in the underwear, which you all do, just head over to Treeline, Google or Google Best Men's hiking underwear. It should be one of the first things. I did it the other day. It popped right up. Or head over to Sam Schild, and that's actually spelled as Sam's Child, for more of his non-undergarment writing, which may not be as exciting for some of you who are really into smells. So thanks, Sam. I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. What do you say we rescue our listeners from the thought of sniffing 20 pair of underwear and tackle another topic?
We did avoid poop in this episode, yet we've already on question 1. We're talking about sniffing undies.
About undies sniffing. That's what we do here on Gear Abbey. Nothing. There is no kink that we will shame. There is no topic too gross. We will talk about it all. And you know what? Underwear, balls, butts, whatever. It exists. Bring it on. All right, Colin, let's get back on track here.
Yeah.
Another question, please.
Okay, here we go. Dear Gear Abbey, my partner and I recently got engaged, and neither of us want a big wedding. We're both climbers and love the idea of maybe getting married in Yosemite, which is where we met. Can you even get married in a national park? And if so, what do we need to do to make it legal? Signed, he put a ring on it.
All right, Beyonce. First of all, yes, Beyonce, not Beyonce, you person who wrote in, congratulations, both on becoming engaged to your beloved and for finding love while enjoying the great outdoors, which is basically something I fantasized about at least 900 times, give or take.
Every corner, you're like, you're going to walk up there.
Is it here?
They're going to be there. They're going to be there. There they are.
No, just marmots. See,
just another marmot.
Just another beloved marmot. Well, all right. But second, I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the podcast yet, but I am an ordained minister of the Church of the Latter-day Dude. So in case you're looking for an officiant.
That's a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing. The last and only couple that I married actually asked me to write the ceremony myself. They're like, you go for it. So it involved a ton of Nicolas Cage quotes, if that's your sort of thing. So call me.
Wait, you married Justin Hausman?
Is he a Nicolas Cage
Nicolas
fan?
Cage. Oh,
I'm looking
Nicolas
at.
Cage stand to
I
the
wish I
highest
could
degree.
show you the things that I have displayed in my house that my friend and my friend Alexis and my sister bought me. Various Nicolas Cage ephemera in this home. So, I also stand hard. If you haven't seen Kiss of the Vampire. And the
old school Cage.
Oh my gosh, when he's in the office and he's just reading off the letters of the alphabet, that you can Google that clip on the internets and it will satisfy you in a deep way. Especially if you have like a small bit of rage inside you, let Nicolas Cage in that movie work that out for you. But yes, you can get married in a national park, and it's honestly probably not as complicated as you might imagine. So please allow me, your dudist minister, to explain. So, all right, first of all, you can start no more than a year out and at least 21 days out, although it's a good idea to do it earlier, especially in a park like Yosemite. It's very popular. They've got a lot of administrative things to do. But you want to apply for what's called a special use permit. So this is the same thing that guides use, concessionaires, commercial photographers, stuff like that. It just basically says you have permission to do this random thing in the park. And so it's the same thing in Yosemite that you'd have to do in any park. And it looks like right now it costs about $150 in Yosemite to get that permit. And it just says you have permission to conduct your wedding in the park. So you can find the permit application on the park's website. Just look under the permits and reservations section. And that's for any national park. So we're going to use Yosemite as the example today, but you're going to fill that sucker out and mail it. Yes, we are getting analog here. You're going to mail it with a check or money order. Deeply analog here.
Are money orders still a thing?
I didn't know they were, but it says it on the Yosemite website. So,
God, that's like a throwback to my childhood. You know, like the 888, all the things you would order for online,
right.
Like get the new CD instead of check or money order or whatever.
Well, yeah, what were the CD? The something house, not Random House.
Columbia
House. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 20 CDs for a penny.
Yeah, that's just a penny, guys. They definitely aren't going
to
get you caught in some sort of CD Ponzi scheme after that. But yeah, you're going to mail that off and then wait, or you can bother the person in charge of special permits until they tell you that, yes, you may indeed marry your beloved while standing beneath El Capitan while Alex Honnold, claps for you. You're also,
And he
will with his big ass
Yeah.
hands, just whoosh, whoosh. It's going to be nice. You're also going to need to get a marriage license just like you would anywhere else. But there's two things you want to keep in mind is that first, you need to get the license not just in the state where you want to get married. So for Yosemite, California, but often from the county in which you're going to get married in. So in Yosemite, that's Mariposa County. And then you want to pay attention on the license to the expiration date. So Mariposa County license is valid for 90 days. So you want to time it out so you can get married and have that sucker signed and filed within that window.
Is that the same everywhere? So if you want to do like Acadia, it's whatever county in Maine Acadia
Generally,
is in?
yeah. I don't know if it's the same exact thing state by state, but in the wedding I performed was in Oregon, and we had to do that.
Yeah.
It had to be through the county itself. Yeah. So
Okay.
the more you know. This is deargearabby doing her deep dive research. Very important things for you. So that is not where things stop, though. There's a few more additional logistics you kind of need to sort out for a national park wedding, because this is going to be different. First you have to decide where in the park are you going to do the deed, not that deed.
Wait, you have to
You
have
have to
sex
get
publicly?
married first. First you get married.
You go to that checklist, some like creepy old eyes. You got your license. You're like, just start doing it right now.
That's right, just like-
it's part on the list. Do you want to get married or not?
Listen, if the horny salmon can do it in the national park, so can you after you get married. No, but you do need to figure out where in the park you want to have the ceremony. And so most parks will have restrictions on where that can be, especially depending on the size of the crowd you're going to draw. So if it's just going to be the three of you, that's a lot different than if you are bringing, 40 other people with you. And so, in Yosemite, if it's just the two of you and an officiant, you can, or really 10 people or less is their limit, I think. You can get married anywhere as long as you're not standing like in the middle of a meadow or something like that. Probably you want to avoid somebody's private housing or like just rolling up into somebody's campsite. But once you start getting close to like a dozen people or more, the options do become more restricted. So anything over 50 people is totally off limits. This is not what they're here for. They're here for nature people. So that little number, though, between 30 and 50, if you decide to have a sizable group show up, you do need to pay for somebody from the park to basically watch over you and make sure you're not screwing shit up. And that's $50 an hour right now. So honestly, even with the special use fee, that is probably still cheaper than any venue that is not your aunt's backyard. So
Probably,
an
yeah.
absolutely worthy contender. And with Yosemite, if they're still doing those time permits, you got to keep that in mind. And, that, of course, is going to get exponentially harder as you get up to the day, and you got to find parking, which is an impossibility in the valley, especially in the summer.
I'm getting anxiety.
Dude,
just
right?
listening to
Colin
this.
is
I have to-
rubbing.
This is like I'm
Rubbing his forehead.
I just fucking
Looks so
can't.
upset. Is this why you're not wearing your ring, Colin?
Yeah, the cloud's coming along. I'm gonna start shaking my fist at it pretty soon. Just wait.
Colin, have you even thought about like where all those people are going to park? Where are they going to stay for the night?
If you want to hear about my wedding after this, I'll tell you. It was not this complicated. I can tell you that.
Well, all right. I mean, you did you get married in Yosemite? No, because you've never been there, you weirdo who lives in California. Whatever.
Fair.
Anyway, so yeah, listen, people book campsites in this park, especially when they open up a year in advance. They are booking them that morning at 7 a.m.
Yeah, totally. No, absolutely.
PST. So if you want to cozy up with your sweetie in the Hantavirus honeymoon suite in the Curry Village tent cabins, you got to try for that reservation 365 days before you want to do that. So keep that in mind. And for the day of, so even when you get a permit and you're allowed to host the Yosemite Climber Dirtbag Wedding of your dreams, the park doesn't stop parking. So people are going to be milling about from all corners of the world. Do not expect privacy. This is not your own private Idaho. This is everybody's public California. So
I love that. Can I rent the park?
can I just have the whole thing? It's only
the whole thing?
$150. That's great.
You understand how important this day this is to me?
This is my biggest day. No, I mean, the park actually does recommend, though, that people do very early morning ceremonies to kind of minimize the number of wedding crashers just in the background of all your photos. So if you want to limit it to you and the bears, they suggest something like, 8 a.m. I personally would do sunrise because I think that's lovely, but, just something early.
Yeah.
And you do have to keep in mind, Colin, and in case you're going to get married again and you and your wife want to renew your vows in Yosemite, you got to keep in mind this is not a VFW hall. You're not going to be able to hang up decorations. You're not going to be able to use a microphone and set up a DJ booth, anything like that, okay? The park even recommends that you be thoughtful about the flowers you use in your bouquet so you're not just spreading invasive seeds around the meadows and stuff. The meadows you're not supposed to be walking in. But really, do you need all the trappings of the wedding industrial complex if you have towering granite and rushing waterfalls and adorable bears as your scenery? I don't think so. I think you're fine.
Will they rent you the bears for the photo
You might,
shoot?
yeah. Can I just confirm that there will be at least 3 bears putzing around in the meadow? I would take some nice mule deer as a backup if they're not available. Because there could be multiple weddings going on the same day. Apparently it gets very busy there in the summer.
It would be epic if the bears started eating the mule deer during your wedding. That would be the best thing of all time.
I don't think they eat mule deer, Colin. That would be really extraordinary.
I don't know, just going predator prey. That's all I was thinking.
If I could see a little bit of the park's life cycle in action, I'd be so grateful.
Yeah, can we do that?
Aw, that's really lovely. I liked that last question. That was a good one. See, that's a good example of like a nice question to ask. But really, you can ask anything and I'll answer it.
I'm going to take a little umbrage with you, Gearabby.
Why?
You're so anti-speakers in the backcountry. How do you know that those people just aren't DJs, being part of a wedding when you come across them?
Okay.
Right?
Because I know.
Portable DJ?
Because I know. Okay.
Just off to the side of the trail was that wedding party. You never saw them.
I want my DJ to just be like birds screaming at me from the sky. You hear that, birds?
The screams of the mule deer being destroyed by the bears.
Wow. All right. With that, what is our next question? With that beautiful image.
Dear Gearabby, how do you feel about people who bring inflatable tubes or rafts to backcountry lakes? Is it obnoxious? Signed, Lake Enthusiast.
Oh, you know what I like is that we don't know where this person falls on the spectrum of obnoxious to not
They're
obnoxious.
Are they like, should I be embarrassed about the way I feel about this?
Or should I be
Please tell me
embarrassed because I'm out there floating in like a duck? Ooh, this is exciting. All right. Well, first of all, I am pretty sure that I have a picture of me somewhere just floating on my sleeping pad in some lake that was deep in Sequoia National Park, wishing I had a proper inflatable. There was a small consolation on that trip, though, because my friend, we all brought cans because we were just doing a casual weekend, a little small backpacking trip. We all had cans of our favorite beverages. And my friend brought us all inflatable drink koozies that were small flamingos.
Amazing.
It was, I was delighted.
Absolutely.
I know, right? See?
Who's the fun police out here not letting you float around on lakes?
Well, you know what? We're going to get to that, the fun police. So this actually leads me to the question. I'm going to flip back to Lakey, again, whose perspective I do not know. Let me ask you a question. Really, this is a question for everybody to consider, is what are we supposed to do in a backcountry lake? Are there rules of engagement published somewhere? Is there a manual for how to lake? Is there only one true way to visit a backcountry lake? So I'm just going to go ahead and answer my own question here. No, there is no one way to backcountry lake. And I think there are some general responsibilities we have to the places we visit and the people we share them with, however. So we'll get into that, but let's dive in here.
So let's define it though real quick. So is a backcountry lake, are we talking like ones you can only get to via trail and by your feet is what we're saying, right? If there's a boat ramp or something like that, that does not qualify
built
here.
Structure other than a trail. And so this could be
Got it.
on trail, it could be off trail, but it's basically like away from a trailhead. You've got to move a distance to get to it. So it could be on a bike, you could be on a hand cycle, you could be on walking, whatever.
Okay.
So it's deep out there. It's not accessible by car. So that's when I think of a backcountry lake. Backcountry in general, I think is just, a lot of people use the term wilderness, but not all backcountry is wilderness. So let's just say backcountry is like the great beyond. So all right, here's the thing. People visit backcountry lakes for relaxation, for restoration, to immerse themselves in nature, let off some steam, pray, feel joy, challenge themselves, fish, paint, paddle, meditate, like whatever. There's so many reasons we go to these places, and the motivations and activities are all over the place. But some people do have, I think, a very rigid definition of how we're supposed to spend our time outside, and especially in the backcountry, right? Like the rules of engagement to these people are very different out there. And it can be really distressing when somebody's activities just don't match up with that vision of how to be in this place.
like Shawnté likes to take speakers out on trail.
do
That's how
not
she
hate it.
enjoys the trail, and that's her prerogative, everybody.
Oh, I didn't bring you on today to lie, Colin. Okay, I let you tell your beautiful wedding story earlier.
I'm going to cut that out.
Okay, nobody heard the wedding story, so just take that out. Take everything out.
Actually, I might cut it out now, too, just so people hear this part. And they're like, wait, what?
There's a lot that happens behind the scenes. It depends on if Colin and I are fighting on any given day.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But yeah, I mean, listen, would some people be deeply annoyed, Colin or Lakey, if you rolled up to Lake Silent Isolation Paradise and busted out a human-sized inflatable flamingo? Yes, of course. Some people would be annoyed. These people also probably exist in the middle of a Venn diagram that has people who believe that the only humans that should exist in the wilderness are me on one side,
Yes.
and people who wouldn't know the definition of the joy if it slapped them on their uptight ass on the other side.
I would be so pumped if I saw somebody who took the time and carried the weight
hell
of an
yeah.
inflatable flamingo.
Let me
And
ride.
as long as they weren't breaking some sort of weird rule about like
Right.
you can't go in this body of
Yes.
water or whatever, then dude, float away. Good God damn it. Why didn't I think to bring a flamingo?
Exactly.
Like that is hilarious.
Like lighten up. Do you know? I want to go on a ride. Somebody did that once with a pack raft. They rolled up to a lake. Somebody I knew. They knew my group was going to be there. Rolled up with their pack raft. We all got to take turns paddling around. It was lovely. Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to drag things into bodies
Yeah.
of water you're not supposed to have things in, but I mean,
Think about the comedy of like taking, especially if you have mountains around and you have a great photo, and then there's this one little flamingo
do it all for the lulz.
in the lake. Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I feel like it's absolutely okay to mix in a little bit of childlike wonder in the genuine awe that we feel in these places. And I do understand why some people might bristle. A lot of us get deep out
Yeah.
there to get away from it all. And I get it. Like a lot of us want to be away from people and really marinate in all that the natural world gives us. And rolling up
Right.
to a remote lake, expecting solitude, and then you encounter all these people with a flotilla of flamingos and inflatable alligators. I get that it could be a bit jarring, especially if you were considering just a serene alpine experience that you thought you were going out there for. But the reality is something to keep in mind. We kind of talked about it a little earlier with the wedding question. Human beings have been in what we now think of as the wilderness and the backcountry since the beginning of time. And scoring a permit to this beautiful, idyllic alpine lake doesn't come with a people-free guarantee. It's not your personal paradise. It just isn't. And it turns out these places are here for all of us. And if you so choose, your floaties. And I think in the scheme of things, come on, inflatables are a fairly low impact vehicle for fun. You are not spilling motor oil all over the place, and the only noise they make is just the sound of you sort of like gently asphyxiating while you're blowing it up.
Like 11,000 feet, or they're blowing up a thing.
Yeah,
You're like,
that's me. Me with my
this is gonna be
sleeping
worth
breath.
it.
But yeah, I mean, Lakey, listen, with anything, the right to be in an outdoor space also does come with the responsibility to be thoughtful about your impact on that place and on the people in it, like I said earlier. So in this case, it wouldn't be cool to turn a backpacking trip to Lake Serenity into a spring break outing on Lake Havasu. So just be aware of your noise levels and your use of the space. And as a bonus kind of kindness, you could give a wide berth to anyone who's like fishing, reading, meditating, like your deeply zen friend Deargearabby here.
This is, I think, a larger problem of like outdoor stuff. And I think you and I probably talked about this before in some capacity, because it's like, you have to like adjust your expectations, especially according to where you're going. Now, if you're going to some super secret spot that nobody knows, whatever it is, and there's somebody there, that could be disappointing.
Yeah.
But I run into this especially with, etiquette with mountain bikers and whatnot. And a lot of times I run into those people who have bad etiquette when they're on a trail that is highly multi-use and highly used. And it's like it's the first spring day when it hasn't rained for 6 weeks and we're all out on this trail and people are like freaking out on each other. It's like, why are you on this trail if that's what you are going to pick a fight about? Go to a place that's either where it's cycling only or fewer people go. And then, so the people who then just like get to a place and then complain about what they encounter, when it's like, well, if you know what this place is all about, what are you doing? Why are you complaining about this? It's just, it's an outdoor problem.
I think, and especially people sometimes who've been going to a place for a long time have this sense of ownership.
Right.
And they feel like it's their place and this is where I go and why are you here doing your thing?
Yeah.
And
I'm here to fuck up your good time.
yeah.
That's why I showed
That's
up today.
absolutely why. Me and my flamingo are just gonna F your shit up. But yeah, listen, Lakey, I hope you're on the pro flamingo side. And if you are, and if you have a flamingo inflatable, I've honestly been dying to just get out on a lake and sit in one of those I will take 5 minutes. That's all I need. And I'm almost feeling more relaxed just thinking about zoning out on a lake on an inflatable. Like actually maybe an alligator would be better so I can lay
I don't know,
down.
it's a warm summer day.
Me and
Water's warm.
me and my gator just floating. Maybe I should go to a pool. A little easier than going to an alpine lake.
Probably. It might be easier.
Maybe.
You do live in Southern. You could go to the beach.
That's true. We have a whole big giant thing of water just to the
This thing's
west.
called the Pacific Ocean. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. I think I touched it 1 or 2 times. Oh man. All right. Well, we have time for one more question. What do you got?
All right, here we go. Last question of the day. Dear Gear Abby, what would you recommend I carry for field repair for one day on trail? As in me trail running, requiring 5 to 7 hours for a 30K, 3,000 meters, approximately 10,000 vertical feet climb.
What? I'm sorry.
Just some tape around the hiking pole or some real stuff?
Oh.
Signed, Marcus in the Alps.
Oh, international listener mail. I think we've made it, Colin.
We have. Yeah, we are now international. And I should have known when I was reading about a 30K at 3,000 meters. And I'm like,
yeah.
Dumb American don't understand.
Also, wait, is 3,000 meters? That really is 10,000? Who's climbing that much in a day? Marcus, are you
That's
okay?
a lot of climbing.
Like, what are you?
How about 30K? That's
What
a
if
lot of
this is
climbing.
actually Killian Journay writing in?
Well, he is at the time of this recording anyway, he's in the United States, so he could have,
dashed off a quick one. I don't know if he's still in Colorado or if he's moved over to the Sierra yet, but Killian, thanks for writing in.
Thanks, Killian.
10,000-foot gate in a day.
Did you guys all hear that Killian Journay endorses Gear Abby?
Wow.
What?
I mean,
oh my God.
under a special pen
Allegedly.
name.
Maybe not really.
Marcus in the Alps, wink, wink.
Normal marketers reach out to us for sponsorships. Okay.
No, well, whoever you are, Marcus from the Alps, this is a great question. I actually get asked variations of this all the time, especially from those friends that'll show up to your, 12-mile day hike with just a tiny plastic bottle of water they picked up at the gas station last minute. And then they see me with my actual day pack filled with real live things. They're like, what's in there? Like the things that will keep us alive. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not sure if it has made it over across the Atlantic, Marcus, but we've got this thing here we call the 10 essentials. And before I get to your specific question about what I would carry for a repair kit, let me just explain what the 10 essentials concept is. So the phrase comes from the classic backcountry skills book, Mountaineering, Freedom of the Hills. I do not know what they're on, I was going to say episode 10. They're on iteration 10. Like they just keep building.
That's not Colin Fletcher. Fletcher's the backpacking
No,
guy.
Colin Fletcher isn't he? That's the guy that just walked in the and wrote the book about walking the length of the Grand Canyon, I think.
Oh, never mind. Sorry. I knew it was one of those.
I have it,
iconic.
I think, behind me on my bookshelf. I just haven't read it. This Mountaineering Freedom of the Hills, it's a classic tome. It's very thick. And the idea of the 10 essentials just refers to this concept of carrying these 10 categories of things in your pack anytime you go into the backcountry. So we just talked about what is the backcountry. So if we think about it here as those places where you're starting to get in far away from roads and trailheads and you might do a day hike out there, or a run, a 10,000-foot climb run, apparently, which Marcus Killian is doing. Or you're just out there having a nice time. But listen, here's the 10 things. So they say navigation, which they, in the 70s, they were like, that's map and compass. But some people use their phones. Lighting, that would be probably a headlamp. Sun protection, you could guess sunblock, hat, sunglasses. First aid, fire starting tools. Some sort of shelter. This is a thing most people would not bring, but you can consider a space blanket to be that. Maybe a bivvy if it's snowing. I actually always bring a bivvy with me. Extra food, extra water, extra layers, and then a repair kit, which, the idea is if you carry these 10 things, you'll be able to handle kind of a lot of what gets thrown at you out there when you're far away from your car. So we're going to laser in on the repair kit for Marcus Killian, which is actually just listed as knife in the original 10 essentials. So they're like, bring your knife.
I love that.
Don't bring a repair
John
kit
Rambo
to a
was
knife
on it.
fight.
Yeah.
That's right. What'd you say about Rambo?
I said John Rambo was on it. That's all he needed.
That's all. He's like,
he had a little sewing kit and the hilt.
Yeah,
He was ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you were just whittling an alpenhorn, that would be all you need. I don't know when they do it in the Alps, but if that alpenhorn cracked while you were out on your day of adventure with all of the beautiful sheep, bighorn sheep, I don't know what lives out there. I believe it's beautiful sheep.
It's mostly cows.
Cows,
isn't it?
your shaggy, gorgeous cows that make chocolate milk. Your knife is not going to do much besides maybe whittle another alpenhorn. So you want to consider a repair kit. This is how I think about it, is you want to think what is most likely to break. And this is not yourself. This is a whole different topic. First aid kit is a different topic of what is most likely to break on yourself. We're thinking about your gear here and your clothing, the things you've got with you. And whether it's your safety or your comfort that depends on it being repaired. So this is a distinction to make, and this can help you build out your repair kit is like, all right, am I just shoving everything in here because I want to be as comfortable as possible out there if like I rip something? Like, for example, I spent an entire day hiking around the Sierra with a giant rip across the left butt cheek of my pants once after ripping them on a rock. Could I have stopped to sew or patch them up? Yes, I had the stuff with me. But it was a comfort issue more than a safety one. And I was less interested in wasting daylight, considering I had a perfectly good pair of non-merino underwear, providing a little bit of modesty underneath. So for me, I was like, I could repair these, but it's just a day hike. I don't need to. Let the buns be free.
You're just walking by other hikers going,
Hey,
don't act like you're not impressed.
Oh, Shazam. This is part of my 900 times of wishing that I could find love in the outdoors.
Have you noticed my butt cheek?
Are you into cheeks? Are you into flesh colored?
You know, I could tear the merino underwear too.
Maybe Smart will want to sponsor us now.
the extra rippy merino.
It's made for you. It's once you get married, and we're gonna just tie it all together here. Once you get married in Yosemite, and you're in the Hantavirus suite.
While you're out getting married, before you get on your pink flamingo flotation device, rip off that merino underwear. You're ready to go.
Oh, this is such a beautiful, vivid picture. I actually wish someone would paint it on velvet. Oh my God. So that's one example. But I did have a time my sunglasses broke once during a long hike in the desert, and that was worth me stopping for a few minutes to just try super glue them back together. I think I used super glue and some sort of, KT tape or something. It was like whatever I had with me, because the risk to my eyeballs was worth spending a little bit of time trying to fix it. So basically, I'm carrying things on day hikes and trail runs that'll allow me to kind of temporarily, at least temporarily, fix tears, breaks that would kind of ruin my outing or make it a safety issue. So apparently for me, having a bun hanging out is not ruining the outing, but going blind in the sun would be. So here's what I am carrying, Marcus/Killian. But if you're Killian, you're running fast enough, you really do need to carry anything. You could probably run to the next town in like 2 minutes. So
I bet Killian's listening right now because he needs this advice.
He's like,
that's what I think. He's like, I don't know what to do.
He's like, I don't even know how I got through all those mountains in Colorado without my repair
Thank
kit.
God for gear, Abby.
I'm so glad she exists. All right. Well, Killian, if you're listening, you may want to consider this incredible material called duct tape. So roll it around your pole, which Marcus, you mentioned in your email, or a water bottle, or just kind of fold it in on itself, which is what I do. It's just a wad of duct tape in my pack. And that's obviously just great for patching things. I toss a few safety pins onto the outside of my backpack, which I also consider part of my first aid kit. So if you're going to make a sling or something, you'd have that to kind of sling your arm if you needed to. So it also works for first aid. But yeah, there's a lot that those could do. I do 2 small ones and 2 big ones. I do a tiny container of super glue. I get those from the dollar store. They sell them in like 8 packs. It's real thrilling to pop one open and just like repair something on the spot. Tiny sewing kit. I've gotten mine at like a hotel. It's just those little shitty ones. And I actually had to use that to sew up the front of my pack once after it completely split open when I got caught on a branch and all of my shit flew out the front of my pack.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And I was pretty deep in. So I was like, I don't know, 12, 13 miles in. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to need to fix this before I can keep hiking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I carry a little bit of cord that I could also use. It's like thin enough. You could use it as a shoelace. A little strip of some sort of patching material. I usually carry something called tenacious tape. And sometimes I'll also take one of those no-sew patches. It's NOSO. Mm-hmm. And they've got like cute little shapes. I've got all sorts of cats and hearts and suns on my gear at this point. Really, there's not a ton of difference between what I'd carry on a day hike or a trail run versus what I would take overnight. I do add in a spare belt buckle because you would be absolutely screwed. At least I would, trying to carry a heavy pack without the weight being on my hips.
Oh, a pack buckle.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a waist buckle. That sounds Victorian. Like oh my, I've got to get my waist buckle. Pardon me, I've got the vapors.
Little known fact, Gearabby does hike in a corset.
I do. That's why I'm always fainting. Oh, man. But yeah, and I also do bring patches for my sleeping pad and my tent. I've got a Dyneema tent. I've got a Durston X-Med 1 Pro, which I love. Best tent I've ever owned. And you can actually buy from Durston a little Dyneema patch repair kit. And I had to use it the very first night I used the tent because I managed to poke 3 holes in it. Buddy, when you're out there, if you're not Kilian Jornet, if you are, in fact, just Marcus from the Alps, not just, if you're Marcus from the Alps, bring whatever you think will address the possible things that could happen to ruin your day. That's really all you need to carry is stuff that will avoid having your day ruined. So make sure you have that knife in there that Rambo put in the very first 10 essentials. Mine has honestly seen more action on various blocks of cheese than anything else, but I feel like that tracks for the Alps. So get out there, man, and eat some delicious dairy while you're at it. Unless you're lactose intolerant, and then forget I said it. That's it for this episode of Gear Abby. You're going to send us your burning questions about your relationships with outdoor products, people, places, pastimes. No matter how clean or dirty they are, send them to us at deargearabby@gmail.com. I'm going to do my best to answer them or find someone else who can. And of course, head over to your podcast listening service of choice and subscribe, rate, and review to support the pod and personally make my day. We're also on Instagram now, and that is Gear Abby Pod. And in the meantime, today's episode was produced by David Karstad and Colin True. Oh, the crowd cheers. Art direction provided by Sarah Gensert. I'm Shawnté Salabert, and remember, there are no dumb questions, just smart advice.